In what was perhaps the most eagerly anticipated MMA debut of the year, the highly decorated former two-time Olympic gold medalist and current two-weight undisputed world champion boxer Claressa Shields made her first dip into the sport of mixed martial arts, coming away with a third-round TKO victory over Brittney Elkin under the PFL banner. And while the fight itself was a somewhat sloppy affair at times, at its very core, from my vantage point, I saw a very clear case of a great athlete proving her mettle and, in many ways, overperforming, given the circumstances. And in the aftermath, I saw quite a wide range of responses from the MMA community. Most gave credit where it was due, praising Shields for her hands, her cardio, her heart, while understanding how incredible it was to see a fighter with so little experience maintain such a cool head, because it wasn't plain sailing, not by any means. And I think before I dive into the matchup itself or what it means for Claressa's career, I want to first commend PFL on some excellent matchmaking. Though a portion of this sport's fan base immediately started calling Elkin a can due to her 3-5 record, in reality, those of you who hold that view have made a major oversight in your understanding of how to build a budding prospect and neophyte to the professional game. I honestly preferred to see Shields in there with an 8-fight veteran with a losing record than another pro debutant or a 1-0 fighter. And in many ways, in taking this fight where the stylistic matchup wasn't perfectly favorable, Shields managed to make a very clear statement about her intentions. Elkins isn't a great fighter by any means, quite the opposite. But one look into her resume will tell you that she spent the later half of last year competing in grappling tournaments, going 4-3. And yeah, she could have succumbed to the first barrage of strikes Claressa threw her way, but in taking a slightly more experienced opponent, one who brought her BJJ brown belt with her as a clear route to victory, it shows that Shields was at the very least willing to entertain the possibility of danger in this matchup. And in a sport where one's first 2 or 3 matchups, especially as a crossover star, should be spent engaging in gimme fights, the main takeaway I had after watching Shields was that she was truly fearless in there. That's why she took an awkward professional debut, and it's why she was able to manage her cardio so well in this fight, not succumbing to panic in moments that should have been truly worrying. Because as far as this matchup was concerned, I think that was the main thing that stood out to me. Despite those moments that showed her over-eagerness to be offensive or re-engage on the ground, I found it quite shocking just how well she was able to handle her stamina in many stages of the fight that saw her in a hugely submissive position. That should have been the undoing of this new professional, the crossover athlete, fighting from the bottom with little chance of escape. For both morale and for confidence, in that first round, I thought Claressa's MMA run was on its way to an unsuccessful opening bow there and then, but to say that she showed a champion's composure would be putting it lightly. If you're enjoying this content, be sure to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all of our latest uploads, before leaving a comment to let YouTube's algorithms know that we are fast becoming one of the best MMA channels on the platform. There was a certain confidence to her that made the eventual finish in the third round seem like it was written in the stars, and when the referee moved in to pull Claressa off of her, it capped off an MMA debut that will live long in my memory. Not because of the skills shown or the clear holes in her game, or the performance of her opponent, but because of the sheer audacity of it all. With the world of boxing at her feet, as the only lineal two-weight world champion the sport has seen, 2 Olympic gold medals in her back pocket, after just 7 months of training, she decides to take an MMA debut that is far from ideal in its makeup. And when things go south in the opening 2 rounds, she remained calm, composed, positive in her mindset, managing to rebound in a big way in the third round. If that's not a statement of intent, I don't know what is. She's still just 26 years old, and looking ahead, if she is serious about a full-time transition to MMA, which is possible, realistically it will take another 2 or so years before we'll begin to really understand or gauge just how far Shields can go. I mean, look, she's a white belt in terms of a lot of her MMA skills, and though her outstanding athleticism allowed her to sprawl on a pair of occasions against Elkins, there is just so much feel and nuance to grappling, to wrestling, to the extended clinch sequences, to kicking, to the use of 4-ounce gloves. But based on what little we have seen, I honestly think that Shields has the ability to pull it off. As a 155-pound fighter, it is hard to see anyone except Kayla Harrison as the white whale in Shields' future. With PFL's 155-pound division garnering some decent attention, and the lack of even a real 145-pound division in the UFC, it is hard to know what type of incentives will exist for a long and drawn-out run in MMA for Claressa. But like crossover stars like Ronda Rousey before her, who was of course another Olympian in her own field of judo. With fighters slowly starting to emerge in the lightweight class, who knows, perhaps Dana White will grow increasingly interested as the years go on. Because as far as Claressa's future is concerned, all projections need to be assessed in terms of their long-term viability. We can all lose our minds over the fact that she survived a 2-round deficit in the manner that she did, but realistically, this will be a long-term project. What I do hope is that more boxers see her success and decide to at the very least try their hands in the more multifaceted world of mixed martial arts. The rivalry between MMA and boxing has caused many to take a very defensive stance on this decorated boxer's success in her debut, but in reality, given that this is an example of the martial arts being mixed before our very eyes, in a fashion that is very intriguing and very raw, we should be supporting the success of this clearly special athlete. So yeah, congratulations to Claressa Shields on an excellent debut. I thought she handled herself in a way that saw her surpass my own expectations in a lot of ways, and all of a sudden I've become very interested in her progression from this point onwards. But what did you make of the mixed martial arts debut of this boxing legend? And do you see her being able to make good on her clear potential by eventually climbing her way into the elite upper echelon of this sport? Do let us know in the comments section below. We always love to hear from you guys. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and a comment before subscribing to the channel so you can stay up to date with all of our latest uploads. Thank you for watching.